Hello. Okay, I have sound. So I'm not having very good luck this week. I did something wrong with my recording on Tuesday, and then today my microphone wasn't working. So I taught a whole class, but there's no sound. So I am reteaching, just redoing this short sun salutation prep class. And I do have a few props. At the end, I just have a folded blanket to sit on for meditation. I also have a block here handy. I will use that. And I'd have a weight. It's not essential, but it does help us kind of feel the action we'll be working on our shoulders. So next Tuesday, we are going to celebrate the winter solstice with 108 sun salutations. In yogic tradition, 108 is a really auspicious, sacred number. And so we are going to greet the returning of the sun with just a moving meditation. And so it'll take us a while, at least an hour. It might be a little bit longer on Tuesday, but this class is just working on prepping all of the movements of a sun salutation. So we'll start on our bellies and make a pillow for your forehead with your hands. I'm not using my microphone that's on me, so I'm going to turn my head to the side. Hopefully my sound is being picked up. But with your forehead on your hands, just tune into your breath for a few breaths. Just really let yourself breathe with your diaphragm. Just one more breath in through your nose, out through your nose. And we'll come into a sphinx. Just let your arms be like a number 11, and your elbows can be a little bit further forward of your shoulders, but don't have them back too close in. So further forward would be better than by your rib cage. But elbows under shoulders. And let your chin drop in toward your chest. And let your upper back stretch. You can find little tiny rocks here. And sway your head from side to side, but it could be imperceptible. From the outside, people may not even be able to tell that you're moving. But just feel a sensation in the upper back. And then start to let it get bigger and bigger. Find a little bit of swing in your spine. And you can start to let the motion of your neck get bigger. Ear toward shoulder, ear toward other shoulder. Maybe naturally grows to bigger circles. Let this movement be led from the inside out, from your sensation in your thoracic spine and your neck. And then pause with your chin down. And then look forward and lift your gaze up. And then chin down, really let your spine round, lift your low ribs up off the floor. So just back and forth, just some cat and cow movement of your your spine here. And then look forward and let your shoulders get involved. Let your shoulders sink up towards your ears. Just let yourself settle and then push the floor away. And shoulders up towards your ears and then push the floor away. So maybe you can find some circles. And then release that and reach your arms forward. And we'll find some rolling back and forth. Bend into your right knee. Lift that right leg and reach it over to your left. And let yourself just roll all the way onto your back. Whoa. No, don't make the bell. Arms overhead. And we'll just make our way back. So bring that right knee in. Lead with that right knee. And come over onto your belly. And then switch. Bend that left knee. And lift. And reach over to your left. Roll onto your back. Bend your left knee, reach it over, and come onto your belly. So just go back and forth one more time to each side. So lead with that right leg, reach it around. And then lead with that right knee, come onto your belly. Lead with that left leg, onto your back. Lead with your left knee onto your belly. And then slide your hands in and make your way into a table. Let's do a little bit of wrist prep here. So hinge your hips back towards your heels and just lift your hands up off the floor. So your wrists are down, but flexing at your wrists. And then just rock forward and lift your palms. Lift those fingers. And then lift your palms. Lift your fingers. Lift your palms. Lift your fingers. Lift your palms. And then release your hands down. Just find some circles here, just kind of changing the load in your hands. And you can play with the position of your hands a little bit. Find what feels responsive and supportive. And if you have a block, I'm going to play with your block. And bring it onto your sacrum. And it's just a feedback tool. I'm going to play with balancing that block on your sacrum. So we've already done a hip hinge, hips towards our heels. We're just going to play with that some more, keeping your block balanced. So you've got to keep some extension through your spine as you do this forward fold. So you're hinging right here at your hip as you go back. Now, if your spine starts to flex, right, and you come back, your block's going to fall off. So I want you just to go back and forth playing with that there. Keeping that balanced feedback of your block on your sacrum. And just kind of get that action in your muscle memory. And then come to a neutral place. Take your block off and set it in front of you and have your right hand on your block. So now your shoulders are a little bit scawampus. Left hand is on the floor, right hand is on the block. You're gonna keep the same shape of your left wrist, okay? Push into your right hand, and that right shoulder blade will protract as you lift your left arm up off the floor. So your left arm is not moving really at all. This is all coming from pushing into the block with your right hand, protracting that right shoulder blade, and then letting your right shoulder blade retract to bring your left hand back to the floor. Just do that a couple more times. And now push into that right hand and hold here. Now we're really going to let that left shoulder blade protract. Bring your hand toward the floor and then just suck it back in. So shoulder blade goes wide on your back, left fingertips come toward the floor, and then let it come back up. Do that a couple of times. Let your left hand come to the floor. You're going to take your block in your right hand and balance it on your hand. So you just got this balancing block, and you're going to serve it like a tea tray or a tray of plate of cookies, and just reach it forward. Keep your neutral spine, low ribs soften in your low front ribs. Now bend your elbow, bring your block in towards you, and now we're going to turn it and lengthen your arm back. So your block is just balancing. It's hovering on your hand. Your palm is flat, and you're just going to thread it back and forth. Just playing with that shoulder mobility. Reaching forward, reaching back, reaching forward. Let's just do one more. Reaching back. And next time it comes forward, just pause there. Let your arm be straight and your palm flat. So just hold it at a height that you can have a straight arm. And then release down. And sit back, shake your shoulders out. You can nod your head. And we'll come back to that table with one hand on the block. This time we'll do our left arm. Okay. Push into that left hand, and you'll just let your right hand come up. And then let your left shoulder blade protract. Push down to float that right hand up. And then lower. Push. And then lower. And push. And lower. This time stay up as you push, and then really protract that right shoulder blade to bring your right fingertips toward the floor. And then just sloop it up, suck it back up. Reach it down, and then bring it back up. Reach it down, and then bring it back up. Reach it down, and then plant that right hand. Lift your block and just balance it on your flat left hand. And then send it forward. And then bend your elbow and just bring that block in towards your chest, and then send it back behind you. And then bring it back through. Just thread it back through. And try to keep your spine as stable and neutral, your pelvis as stable and neutral as possible. So this action is happening just in your arm and your shoulder. So you can lift it a little higher behind you, still playing with that balance. Next time you come forward, just hold. Straight arm, so it can be at any height. And then release. You can sit back, shake out your hands, push your block out of the way. Remember that hip hinge, tuck your toes, send your hips back, and then lift your knees and find a downward facing dog. And pedal your feet out. And shake your head, feel the strength in your shoulders, and really find a responsive place for your hands to be. You can rock weight from one hand to the other, one foot to the other. Find a little sense of external rotation in your upper arms. And then walk your hands back towards your feet. And find a standing forward fold, softening your knees as much as you need to. So you're feeling this in the backs of your legs. And we'll articulate our spine up. So think of pointing your tailbone towards your heels to bring your pelvis upright. And then one vertebrae at a time, stack your spine. Head comes up very last. And just pause here in your Tadasana. And then we'll go back. So tuck your chin. And then one vertebrae at a time, see if you can roll down. And if you find a place that's a little stickier, you're not aware of your vertebrae, just go back and forth in that place a couple of times. A lot of what we do here is to embellish that cortical map that you have of your body stored in your brain. And it's not always necessarily what your body really looks like. It's the parts of your body that your brain is aware of and can intentionally move. And so we want to move all of our parts so that that map in our brain is as complete as possible. And it's created by movement and feedback, by vibration and pressure. Roll yourself back up. And so if you have parts of your body that you never move, your brain is efficient. It saves energy, and if it doesn't need to store that information, it won't. It'll just decide, oh, that's not necessary anymore. Now let's play with the hip hinge. Soften in your knees, and now think about sending your sitting bones back and finding some engagement, like pulling your heels back to come down into a flat spine. And from here, we'll play with some rows. So you can do this. You could use your block as feedback. You can use a weight. If you have a weight, you can use nothing. It'll be fine. And I'm actually going to do the first one without. So I'm hinging at my hip, not flexing at my spine to lean over. Hinging at your hip. Okay. Flat spine. One arm down. You can brace with your other hand. But first we're going to lift the shoulder blade, lift the elbow, straighten the elbow, and then release the shoulder blade. Okay. If you've got some weight, you can use it. Do shoulder blade, elbow, lengthen, and down. Shoulder blade, elbow, lengthen, and down. Shoulder blade, elbow, lengthen. And then last time. I'm just doing a few on each side. And then switch. So shoulder blade, elbow, lengthen. Shoulder blade, elbow, elbow. Shoulder blade, elbow, elbow, shoulder blade, elbow. And then just set your block to the side and come on up to standing. If you have an elevated surface available, we're going to do a few push-ups either at a wall or you can use a chair. I want you to gauge the width of your hands, the width that your hands need to be. So just let your arms hang at your sides, naturally at your sides. And then turn your palms face forward. Now you can see here the angle of my arm. My arm isn't straight down. If my arms are hanging naturally, turn my arms out, externally rotate. I've got an angle from my elbow to my wrist, right? There's an angle. Bend through your elbows and then just turn your palms forward. And just notice the width of your hands there. That's the alignment that your plank or your push-up needs to have. Sometimes we have our hands just too narrow and it's just too much load on our shoulders because it's not honoring the architecture of our body. Okay, so just see the width of your hands here and translate that to here. And now find either the seat of a bench or a chair or a wall, a door, if you don't have blank wall space, and find that width of your hands. And you can be on toes if you can, lifting your heels. And just first find a couple of shoulder blade pushes and retractions, just both of your arms together. And then remember that effort of rowing. See if you can slowly pull the wall or the chair toward you. And then push it away. And slowly, slowly lower. So see how slowly you can lower. And then push it away. And don't crane your head forward. Try to keep your spine in alignment. Let's just do one more. Slow lower. And don't worry about how wide your elbows go. Just let it feel natural. And let's come into a plank. Come down onto your mat. You can start on hands and knees. Find some external rotation of your upper arms. So feel like with your gripping hands on the floor, you're tightening a jar lid with your right hand, loosening a jar lid with your left. Find that engagement, and then you can tuck your toes and hold a plank. And just find that stability through your trunk. And then lower yourself all the way to the floor and bring your hands wider than your mat. Come on to fingertips. Really tense your fingers and draw your shoulder blades in. Let your elbows stay wide. Push into your pubic bone and let this responsive pressure through your fingertips really give feedback all the way up your arms, your shoulders down to your back. And lift yourself up into a little back bend and lower. Just lift and lower, playing with the position of your arms, feeling the integration of your upper arm bones into your back body. And really feel this happening from your back body, pushing into the tops of your feet, push into your pubic bone. And then release. Bring your hands alongside your rib cage and let your palms face down. And then just float your hands up off the floor. Feel that engagement in your back body. And then let your hands come down. Do that again. Float your hands up off the floor. And then bring your hands back down. Keep that engagement that lifting your hands made in your back body. Feel like you're pulling your palms back to lift yourself into a cobra. Or come onto the tops of your feet, lengthen your legs off the floor. External rotation of your upper arms. And find your upward facing dog. And then lift your hips up and back. And find downward facing dog. And find any movement that you need to here. Find some awareness through that central channel of your body. Notice where you feel warmth and light and strength. Come onto your tippy toes, look forward, and just take a walk up to the top of your mat. Find your halfway lift. You can have soft knees and come to a flat spine. Remember that hip hinge action. And then lower yourself down. Inhale, come all the way to standing, reach high. Exhale, hands to your heart. We've really worked through that stability and strength in our shoulders. So we'll go through a couple of sun salutations. Inhale and reach high. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Soften your knees to bring your hands to the floor. Inhale to a plank. Just feel that stability in your shoulders. Pull your hands back towards your feet and your feet towards your hands. Feel that even more strongly through your front body. And then feel like you're pulling the floor towards you to lower all the way down. Untuck your toes, float your hands, find that engagement through your back body. Plant your hands. Inhale to cobra, or just your feet on the floor, legs lift, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale onto your tippy toes, look forward. Exhale, bend your knees, make your way to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Feel the engagement through your hamstrings as you inhale and come all the way to standing, reach high. Exhale, hands to your heart. One last round. Inhale and reach high. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to your plank. Feel like you're dragging your hands back, feet forward. And then pull the floor towards you as you exhale to the floor. Float your hands, engage that back body. Plant your hands and inhale into your back bend. Exhale. Final downward facing dog. And shake your head. No. Nod your head yes. And then bring your knees to the floor and find a child's pose for a breath or two. Now there's lots of variations to a sun salutation. That practice really builds that strength for especially your push-up work, so you feel supported. You can do a sun salutation without that push-up, but hopefully Tuesday we can really create a sense of fluid, moving meditation. Find a place where you want to end your practice today, whether that's laying on your back, finding a seat, wherever you are. Just find a couple of gentle twists. You're on your back, just bring your knees in, drop them from side to side. If you're seated, just hand to opposite knee. And then make your way to stillness. And just bringing out awareness to your heart center. I've just been having technical difficulties this week. So my movement and meditation class recording didn't work. And this is the second time I've taught this sun salutation prep. But I want to read about light, that inner light. And this is from Jacques Lucéran, from his book, And There Was Light. He was a leader of the French resistance in World War II and was blinded as a young boy. And he had to navigate the world as a blind person. And this is what he says about his accident and his experience adjusting. Barely 10 days after the accident that blinded me, I made the basic discovery. I am still entranced by it. The only way I can describe that experience is in clear and direct words. I had completely lost the sight of my eyes. I could not see the light of the world anymore, yet the light was still there. All the world around me was convinced that I had lost it forever, but I found it again in another place. I found it in myself. And what a miracle! It was intact. I felt the light gushing forth every moment and brimming over. I felt how it wanted to spread over the world. I had only to receive it. It was unavoidably there. It was all there, and I found again its movements and shades, that is, its colors, which I had loved so passionately a few weeks before. This was something entirely new, you understand, all the more since it contradicted everything that those who have eyes believe. The source of light is not in the outer world. We believe that, and it is only because of a common delusion. The light dwells where life also dwells, within ourselves. Yet I had to make the effort to find my way between doors, walls, human beings, and trees. As happens to all blind persons, I hurt myself often, but I quickly learned that I knocked against things only when I forgot the light. When I paid constant attention to the light, I ran a much smaller risk. The second great discovery came almost immediately afterwards. There was only one way to see the inner light, and that was to love. That is our practice, to really illuminate everything from the inside out. And the clearest lens is love. I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you feel strong and full of light. The divine light in me honors the divine light in you. Namaste.